Thanks for being here today, everybody. We're going to have a great time. The worship has been just tremendous. Tremendous. So thanks for being here. As Sister Otzala said, we got Dr. J here today, and it's such a thrill. We've known each other for over 40 years, and been solid with the Lord, been walking this walk out together. Yeah. Although he's traveling all over the place, we're in the Spirit, we're one. So getting me in for a real treat. How many of you have never sat under Dr. J's ministry? Let me see your hands. Okay, a few of you? All right, great. Well, you're in for a real treat. So let's welcome him this morning. Let's welcome Dr. J.
Yeah, all right. Wow, what a morning. Yeah. So I have a lot to say, obviously, and several things to do this morning. Some is just going to have to be second service because I just don't have enough in the introduction. But I got to just step out, just say this, though, because we're family, right? So I do a lot of multiple services on Sunday morning, as many as 6. So get ready. No. Yeah. So, and I love it, though. I don't mind tight schedules. Time's not an issue for me. But I have never seen a first service like the first service at Victory. Usually the first event for me is resurrecting the dead. Generally, yeah. Oh my gosh, it's just like, I'm profusely sweating and everybody's like this. I know they're engaged, because when they leave, they go, that was a really good word. And I thought, you heard that? That's interesting, right? And then what beautiful prophetic words this morning. Yeah, for me, I don't know how often Amy does that. And my sister back there, great word. But I just thought it was fantastic. Yeah, I'm certainly an advocate of pushing her to keep moving more and more that way. Yes. So let me begin again. I can't express enough, and I've got to say this, and I don't really have the time for it, but I have to. What an absolute honor and privilege for Linda and I to be a part, not only of the Leo's lives and their family, and now their grandchildren, who I am now Uncle Dr. J, which I really appreciate very much. I got to hug them all. Got to get that sugar, Yeah. But Victory Church and the fantastic thing that is here. And so it's I just want you to know that. I think Linda and I are obviously always welcomed and privileged to be anywhere, but this is really, for us, a special place, and we cannot wait to get here. You'll see Linda was coming probably in a little while. She'll meet me at the end of the service, and you'll see her. She's, yeah. Really. So it's a little lengthier introduction, and I don't mean to do that, but I have to do that because where we're going this morning. We are living in the greatest time period of the restoration of our God's ultimate intention. I've appreciated everything he's done. I love his refreshings, his revivals. I love our biblical ones, probably beginning with Hezekiah to Josiah. I love our historical ones in our lives that I'm not going to talk about at this moment. So I love all of them. And I appreciate all of them. But that is not his intent. I love the revivals. I know we sing about and we need them. Certainly I was raised to believe for revival, and I certainly love revival and have always wanted it, but he is not intending to just revive us. They have always been good, but the longest ever in the history of mankind was 20 years. I don't want anything for 20 years. I appreciate it. He knows this. This is not against that. There was only one time that there was a habitation of God in the earth. Emmanuel. Once in our history. And that time period and that generation was so affected by him. And that still is affecting the generations afterwards. That's why he's wanting to do something in our generation. That's why some of the delay. That's why some of the things he's shaking, because he wants to set a foundation where the cornerstone is set. The apostles and prophets are there that he might build a temple that he might habitate in. We have never known it before. And I'm so glad he's chosen our generation. We're going to continue to believe for it. It's in this word. They never should have let these Catholic boys read this book. They never should have done it. 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 They say to me, you can never understand this. They were right. But when I began to, you better look out, baby, because this is the absolute truth. And this is his intent. It's something we have never known before. When he is in this level of restoration, still introduction, there is always a enlarging of the prophetic voice within the prophetic writings. Paul will say something that I loved, and I always, the first time I read it, I was so intrigued. He's standing in the first time he's going to speak in a synagogue just out of Antioch, early in his days, still really Saul. And he will say to them, the prophets are read every Sabbath, but the voice of the prophets is never heard. Well, I saw that the first time I saw it. It's amazing to me. And so there's an enlargement, not just for the ones who teach it, but for all of us. We're going to begin to see the Word of God in an enlargement, especially the prophetic voice within the prophetic writings. Oh, he's doing something with the prophetic voice out there in our modern-day prophets. He has to do that. But I'm talking about this written Word. And so that's what he is doing in this hour. And we're going to see it. Every time there was a restoration, the prophets and the builders worked together. A rare thing. But we are going to see it. It's already taken place. I'm certainly going to go this morning to one of the major prophets to introduce this to us in a way. Only really some things in this church I could do because of the great foundation you have here. It's true. So when we approach the prophets, we approach it in three ways, just so we know. One is you've got to look at that time period, that date, what was going on with the nation of God's people, and what was happening with the nations around them, and what God was doing. We've got to know that before we can begin to get any deeper in these. That's why you have this great teacher here, because that's how he approaches everything. That's how we were learned. They were taught to do it, and that's what we do. Secondly, which I love, is the messianic word within the prophetic writings. I like this better. What would this Messiah look like? What would he act like? What would be his character's nature, his personality? What would be the generation he would come in? What was going on in that generation? How did he affect it? And they spoke all his times from the garden, and when he got there, they rejected him. How could they be waiting for somebody, and when he shows up, they reject him? He came in a way they were not anticipating. So I want to know this inside of the writings, and you'll see it this morning. All of a sudden, they'll be writing, and boom, all of a sudden, there's a messianic word within a text. I love that. I used to get confused, and I go, what's going on here? Oh, no. He's revealing something to us. These incredible writing prophets especially. Finally, which I live for, is what is the prophetic voice out of the prophetic writings saying to a generation or any generation from his inception, incarnation, death, and resurrection. What is that saying to generations, especially if he is chosen in a generation to not just revive her or refresh her or cause her to be happy or put some paint on the side of the building that we look better or have a better change of clothes or better language? Oh, no. What's he doing when he wants to come and habitate and bring a dimension of himself that no generation's ever known before? I want to know that because he's doing it in our day. And so if there was ever a day, and I love what I just heard him say about what was going on in Islam, he is absolutely right. He's shaking the world positively, and people are coming. I don't know why anybody wastes their time with media news, because we're not going to get it. I don't care. I'm not going to hear any of this. What's going on in our universities all around our country, you're not going to hear it there. I don't need to hear it there. I know I'd rather hear it there. That voice is way clearer and way more powerful to me than any other voice, including my own. Are we all right with that? Now, last thing is, again, sorry about the big introduction. I want to give us the historical moment before I look at this. I want us to, in this moment, to live this out with the prophet Isaiah. He's in Jerusalem. He's a prophet to the southern kingdom, but he's a prophet to the nations of the world. If I had a map, I would do it this way. My name's up there. All I saw, my picture was there all weekend. I just thought, it's tough to see that shiny head. All right, anyways, now you get to see the back of it. Here it is. I want you to see this as a map. Israel's now split in two. There are two kingdoms, almost 200 years earlier after the death of Solomon, the king. Northern tribe, Israel. Southern tribe, Judah. To the left is Egypt. What is happening right now is the northern king is talking with and conspiring with the king of Syria and the king of Egypt to attack Judah. There is constant chatter going on, constant talk, conspiracies, if you don't mind me using the word. On top of that, they're all concerned because this nation, Assyria, is arising. They will become in 14 years the greatest conquering nation the ancient world has ever known. They will literally take the northern kingdom and absolutely move everybody out. So everybody's fearful. Sound familiar? Constant. I mean, the rhetoric, the constant talking. And here is this prophet, a great man, standing in his nation with concern and worry because of what he's hearing. He didn't have a delete button on his phone like I do. Isaiah chapter 8. You okay? All right. I'm going to watch my time. We're going to move along. They're going to help me. Well, I appreciate the sound folks here. They're fantastic. And your workers. Again, you are visiting. I hope you enjoy this morning. But I'm not even a piece of this guy, so please come and hear him. And by the way, I don't have any friends for next weekend, but if you'd come next weekend to be my friend, I would appreciate that. I really would, and I encourage you to do that. We have a bus to take you over, and if you want a donut or something, I'm sure one of the guys will have it for you. All right, verse 11. Isaiah chapter 8, verse 11. Yeah. For the Lord spake this to me with a strong hand, and instructed me that I should not walk in the way of this people, saying, say ye not, a confederacy is up there, the word is conspiracy. And to all them to whom this people shall say a conspiracy, neither fear their fear, nor be afraid. Sanctify the Lord of hosts himself, and let him be your fear, let him be your dread. Now here he pops into verse 14. I love this. For he shall be for a sanctuary, but here it is, but for a stone of stumbling and for a rock of offense to both the house of Israel, and for a gin and for a snare to the inhabitants of Jerusalem. And many among them shall stumble and fall and be broken and snared and be taken. That is the Apostle Peter will write in his book. Verse 16, love this word. Bind up the testimony and seal the law amongst my disciples. The only time it's used in the Old Testament, and really is a reference to the New Testament, of course. Verse 17, I will wait upon the Lord that hideth his face from the house of Jacob, and I will look for him. Behold, I and the children whom the Lord hath given me are for signs and for wonders in Israel from the Lord of hosts, which dwelleth in Mount Zion. Now, verse 19 through 22 for me is incredible. I'm not going to come back to it, but listen to these words. I don't know how the people of God could ever get to this point, but here they are. And when they shall say unto you, seek unto them that have familiar spirits, and unto wizards that peep and that mutter, should not a people seek unto their God, from the living to the dead? To the law and to the testimony, if they speak not according to the word, it is because there's no light in them. And they shall pass through it hardly bestead and hungry, and it shall come to pass that when they shall be hungry, they shall fret themselves, to curse their king and their God, and look upward. And they shall look into the earth and behold trouble and darkness, dimness of anguish, and they shall be driven to darkness. We're heading in that direction, it appears. But I like chapter 9, same thought. Nevertheless, the dimness shall not be as in her first vexation, when at the first he lightly afflicted the land of Zebulun. Matthew will quote this. And the land of Naphtali. And afterward did more grievously afflict her by the way of the Sea of Galilee, behind Jordan, in the Galilee of the nations. Here it is, the third messianic word in this text. The people that walk in darkness have seen a great light. And they that dwell in the land of the shadow of death, upon them hath that light shine. Let's pray. Father, I thank you so for, again, I feel humbled this morning, as I have every time I've been here, to just how much you've graced Linda and I and favored us to be part of the Leal family especially, but to Victory Church and these incredible folks. To this part of our country that many would look at and say, really, what good thing can come out of the East? Well, I've got news for them. You don't do anything unless you come out from the East. So, Father, I pray this morning that the revelation of Jesus Christ, this cornerstone, this rock, this great light, that you are reestablishing with us, the revelation of you be ours this morning. The revelation of the kingdom of God that has been freely given to us. Kingdom of God, kingdom of heaven, simultaneously in you. The revelation of that kingdom, the immensity of it, the fullness of it, that we not only learn, read, and know, but it is fully manifested in our generation. That our sons, our grandsons, and our great-grandchildren will know you and see you in ways we only dreamed of. Let it be in biblical proportion. That's my cry. You know it. This is not news to you. So, Father, I thank you for that. In Jesus' name, amen. Love this moment. I've needed this, not just the last 4 or 5 years, though, but probably the last 20 years, 25 years of my life when I first saw this. I needed it because of why I was watching the transition of the church in which he was becoming, and even maybe longer than that, and what was going on with us. I didn't really care about the world because I know we're the issue about them. We're the ones who affect them. They don't have an effect on us. I know that for sure. They need us. That's why he came. And so I'm watching this prophet, I'm just thinking, this Isaiah, he's got this constant conspiracy going, this constant talking. I mean, he's getting tweets, Facebook messages, every time he turns on the news. Even it's just constant on his phone. And it's just, he's barraged by the possibilities of what might take place. And I love when the Lord breaks in. See, when I first read this, I just read it as Isaiah's story, but then I realized about this thing is it's written for our edification. It's written for my comfort. I'm to look at this and realize what he did there, he not only wants to do with us, but in a greater way than he ever did before. And so he breaks in with a strong hand. I love that. And he almost turns Isaiah from all the distractions back to him. He says, listen to him, listen, do not get involved in their conspiracies. Stay away from them. Do not fear their fear or be afraid. So can I step back here and say to you, do not be afraid. Doesn't matter what's happening. I already got 6 texts this morning before I woke up about how I'm not going to have any bread or toilet paper anytime this year. I'm not sure which one I want more. That's what I thought, and I deleted that too. And then I got 5 more about no food, and I don't know, something's going on in the hills of Wyoming, and something's going on, and the moon's going to come down, and Florida's going to fall off, and California's. Do not fear their fear, nor be afraid. Now, he does this, and that's why I love this instruction. He says, sanctify the Lord of hosts. Now, this is a beautiful Hebrew phrase. We really wouldn't get it. What it means is no matter where you have him, set him forefront. Whatever you're looking at, let him be the lens. Let him be the object. Let him be the answer. Let him be the hope. Let him be the dream. No matter what you're looking at, if you're standing in light, let it be through him. If you're standing in darkness, let it be through him. Take him and set him. Everything you know about him, everything you know about his faithfulness, we sang about it. Everything you know, set him forefront. Everything you look at, let him be the lens. Look through him. I love that word. Then he says, I love these terms because again, when it's translated in English, but it's like, how can this possible? Then he says to him, and I love this just the instructions personal to me. He says, fear the Lord. Let him be your fear. Well, obviously, I grew up in a community that I was afraid of him. You know, I'm sure I was certain I was going to come outside and a lightning bolt was going to strike my head. I just knew it. I just knew it. But here's the word fear. The word is this: let him be your awe. Now, see, for Hebrew, for us, it's like we try to compare. So they would think immediately, they would look back in his history and think, yeah, creation of the world, Noah, yeah. Abraham, ooh, dead, alive. Sarah, yeah, cool. But then they would come to Moses and they would realize, we hadn't seen his power. But I remember that day, these people cried out to him, hard-hearted. He knew they would not be his. He knew they would resist him. But they cried out to him. He heard the cry and set 10 demonstrations of power the world had never seen and turned that nation of Egypt into nothing. And they said, get out. And he delivered them without a fight, without a sword, without a spear, without anything. And then they got stuck at the Red Sea, 600 chariots coming. Could this God do even more? Oh, absolutely. Out from the heavens comes a cloud. One side's fire, one side is darkness, and it sat there all night long. And then he just kind of sent the east wind and blew the Red Sea wide open. And those people, even though it was as hard-hearted and as resisting it was because they were his, that's the kind of father he is, they just kind of danced through that thing. And then he shut it up on top of the Egyptians. Yeah, that's the God that's awesome. Let him be your fear. Let him be your dread. Now, this is a beautiful word. I'm trying not to take this time, but these are just two. Because part of this is I always get questioned. First of all, the first question is, how old are you? I don't know why they ask that. And then it's like, what do you do and what's going on? These are the non-believers. The believers are the same way. Burdened down. I say to them, stop listening to the conspiracies. I like this one, the dread. I got to do it out of Isaiah's life. So 20 years from now, Isaiah's struggling. The northern kingdom's gone. It's a difficult time. I relate here. He's looking at his people, and he's got this desperate cry. Will you not hear me out of your holy habitation? And then he starts to get frustrated. Isaiah 64, he goes, listen, will you just rend the heavens and come down? Mountains melt at your presence. Your enemy is scattered. And then he goes, whoa, wow. When you came down, that's not what we were expecting. You did far more than we can imagine. That's the dread of God, that anticipating he's about to do something we have never seen before. In the midst of what we're living through, what's being said, the constant attempt to bring fear. Our world's in tremendous fear. If you have any family members, tremendous fear. Unfortunately, some of us, it's gotten on us. It's hard not to. We're living in a real world. I'm not trying to be some superstar, superhuman. This is a real world I'm living in. I don't live in some hole, some cave. I'm not going to do that. I'm living right here. This is our generation. This is our world. I'm not letting it go. But in this time period, I'm going to keep him forefront, and I'm going to let him be my awe, and I'm going to live every day with an incredible anticipation. He's about to do something, we have never seen before. That's why I'm like I am. Jay died a long time ago, so there's no Jay strength anymore, really. A little bit. If I could bench 400, I'd feel better about myself. I'll get him on my back again. I'll prove that. He goes on, though. Yeah, you remember. Hey. You with me? Then I love what he says. The Lord says to him, bind up the testimony and the law to my disciples. I'm doing it this morning. What a church of disciples. I would have thought, and I did immediately, he was talking about Moses' law, but it isn't. Please hear this. He says, bind up the testimony. What he's saying to him is, this is the word, is have them grab hold of the prophetic voice out of the prophetic writings for the time they're living in. And have them grab hold of the prophetic writings. This is not a history book. This is a living, present truth. And when he is in restoration, there is an enlarging of the prophetic voice in the prophetic writings. And we will have a prophetic voice and a prophet in our world that we'll be able to hear, that will be able to be trusted because he is shaking them down and he needs to. But I'm talking about this right here. Bind it to it. Certainly, If I'm anything, you might call me different things and give me different names and put that doctorate thing out there. But the truth is, though, I'm simply a disciple, and I'm responsible way before I teach it is for me to grab hold of that truth and apply it to my life and hold on to it, travail it, believe it, live it. Oh, yeah. It's beautiful. Then, of course, we have those two. I'm going to come to the end, those two unveilings of this Messiah person. Just touch it if we have time on the end. Then Isaiah responds. See, I love this. He responds to it, and he writes it, which I love. He says, I will wait upon him who hides his face from Jacob. Incredible language. But I love this wait upon because, the hardest thing about traveling is, and I'm not really good at this, is this. This is how I am when I'm coming to Victory, though. I'm doing it 6 months earlier. I leave here in September, and I'm panting by October 7th to come back. You know how it is? I don't wait. This isn't the waiting that he's talking about. This is the word. So they've asked me, though. He knows. We've known each other for over 40 years. There are things that I heard prophetically, we heard then, and we heard over our lives that I'm still waiting for. And they say to me, Jay, how long have you been waiting? Well, for some things, 42 years. Really? How could you wait that long? I'm going to show you. Only in this kingdom. So they say, why do I like getting older? Are you kidding me? The things I've been waiting for will come, and then I'll wait for new things, and they'll come, and then there's newer things, and they'll come, and there are things I'll believe for. And then he says, I love this. He says, I will look for him. Please hear this morning, this especially, and I'm just having a good time. I'm saving some energy because I got to crank it out in a little while. Some other things, but it's been just, I love this word. He says, I will look for him. Here's the view of it. Even if you're in a valley, look for him. If you're in a mountain, look for him. If you're in a dark place this morning, look for him. If you're living in pure light, look for him. If you're standing in a wilderness time period, look for him. If you're living in the springtime, everyone loves that. Look for him. If you're standing in a winter season, it just seems like everything's dying around you. Look for him. And I love this. I'm almost done. You with me? It's beautiful, just a beautiful text. Me and my children are, please watch this, 4 signs and 4 wonders. I've used this for youth events for 30 years. This one phrase. I've always loved it. Yes, Isaiah's children had names that were a saying to this a bit, but that's not what it is. It's a prophetic word. The first one of this kind was this man. You see, he was the first one to have the sign and the wonder and to be the sign and the wonder. Jesus had the signs and wonders in an unprecedented dimension, but he was the first of his kind to be a sign and a wonder. I want you to know, and I've said it here before, he is returning the signs and wonders back to us as a church. We heard it from our sister. But what other generations have, they've had the sign and the wonders. It lasted for a while, but they did not have the sign and the wonder. And this generation, he will not allow that to happen. What are the signs? What is he doing in our lives, really? So I've had to come to grips with it. We haven't had a chance to talk about anything, though. But there's so many things that we would love to talk about in regards to this. Some of these things I'm going to say this morning. What is the sign and the wonder? When I first started, I said it must be an error. All right. They're here. There's actually 4 of them. I left one off, but I've been talking about it. Just before the verses I read you, the prophetic word out of Isaiah's mouth said he would be called Emmanuel, God with us. But here are these 3 messianic. Now, I always appreciate that because I thought, well, this is what Jesus would be like. He'll be the stone, the rock, and the great light. But what I want us to understand this morning, if you don't mind, is he is in the process of building those back into our lives so that we not only have signs and wonders, but we will be the sign and for the wonder. He's reestablishing these 3. Can I do them really quickly? I can't spend a lot of time on them. Because he's doing it already in our lives personally and especially within the church. Because if there's not a cornerstone set in the church, there will not be an apostle and prophet lined up to him. And without that, there could never be a temple. And without that, there could never be a habitation. So here it is. What's this cornerstone? And see, he has been, without question, the meditation of my life, even though I like my whole Bible. Because I wondered, and I'm still amazed at how they could reject him, but they rejected the cornerstone. He wasn't what they thought. And I thought, well, if you're establishing it in my life, I don't want to reject it. I don't want to determine, well, I'm more important than that. I don't want that nature. I don't want that care. Oh, no. So here it is, just briefly. Here he is. He's this high and lofty place, and he makes a decision. It's a divine nature thing to come down. I was raised as a human to ladder climb, go up. Divinity comes down. Humanity wants to go up. And we have this constant battle within me. Because I was raised to be a man, now I'm a child. And now I'm growing in this nature that's contrary to my own. So when he comes, not only does he come, but he makes himself of no reputation. He leaves it all. Who does such a thing? I realize now he did it because of a love for his Father. And that's something that's coming back to us, that we do everything because we love him. Not for accolade, not for pressure, not for name, not to be somebody. I don't care about Jay Leroux. I appreciate my name up there, but Jay Leroux is nothing. This is just the same vessel as you, just as clay as you, just as stupid as, well, I'm stupider than you. It really is. I'm nothing. I'm nobody. But there's a treasure inside of me that is the absolute value, as within you. It is. So he makes himself of no reputation. We're doing pretty good. I got to get going. He makes himself of no reputation, takes on the form of a servant, a bondslave. You do realize this is God. And now he's about to represent the kingdom of heaven in the earth. He's about to unveil everything about the heavens. They couldn't deal with that. There's no way our Father's like this. God could never be this way. Oh, yeah, he is. And this world is desperate to see him. And he's determined this world to reestablish this stone in our lives. I'm glad. I'm living for it. I don't want to live my life at the end and realize that I didn't have that. It's the first thing. It's the cornerstone. I can't have the capstone and have a fullness of God without this. You okay? Saying a lie, no. Listen, so here it is. Makes himself of no reputation, form of a servant, a bondslave. That's what he did that night, washing their feet. Represented it. They didn't get it. Not only does he do that, but he's made just like you and I. He gets us. Even though I've seen it on TV and I think it's kind of cool, he does. He understands. But that's the only reason he did that, is so that we would understand he's touched with the feelings of our infirmities. He knows, Jay. He knows my flesh struggles, my lust struggles, my attitude struggles. My born in Connecticut struggles. My born to a particular side. Oh, yeah, no, it is, though. Living in this world, this time, he gets it. That's why this prophet went through it. He met this prophet. And so with a strong hand, he turned him. Made just like me. Then he humbles himself. What? There's no way to describe the words. It means humiliate. You know what's humiliating? When you could say something and you don't. When you could do something and you don't. Anytime he could have said, anytime he wanted to, he could have said, I'm done with this. These people and the future people are not worth this suffering. They don't even like me, not him. His heart beat and loved his Father and loved you and I more than himself. This is this cornerstone. And I'm giving it to you in such cliff notes at this moment. Then, of course, he's obedient all the way to his death. How strong and courageous you have to be to have everybody leave you and forsake you and then beat you to a place the prophet Isaiah would say, I couldn't even look at him. He didn't look human. How does that happen? A silent lamb to the slaughter. This is the one he's resetting in our lives. I want him. I'm not alone. He's not only setting in our lives, but he's resetting it in the church as a whole throughout the world. That's why what you have the hymn. That's why this has been taking place in our lives. That's why he's shaking everything the way he is. It has to be. I don't want anything less. That's what I said about the revivals and refreshings. I appreciate everything he's ever done. I don't want that. I don't want my kids, for my son's life and my grandson's life to be happy, and then my great-grandson or my great-great-grandson come, and it's like this? No. This ends here with us in this generation. Of course, he dies at the cross. That's the stone. Can I just do the rock for a second? We're doing good because I got to say some things to him in a prophetic way. If Linda gets here, I'm going to have her coming up. She might be here already. Are you here, doll? Yeah? Okay. We'll watch to see if she's out there. We'll send her in. I like this rock. You know, Jesus, so you got to read Jesus. It's hard to get him out of that religious kind of thing on his head and peace sign. I don't know what that's all about, but, nothing against it. I just don't, because he's cool. So he's with his disciples. They're just hanging, chilling. They do their thing. He does his thing. They're arguing, talking, who's better. They were always doing that. And he said to them, yo. They said, what up? They said, listen, what's the latest tweet, What's being said about me? Have you been following it? They like us to be, oh, no, we don't watch the news. We just follow you, listen to you. They said, well, be honest, some think you're Jeremiah, some think you're Elijah, and then Peter goes, whoa, what? I got this. Watch this. Jesus is looking at Peter like, I know who you are. Jesus said, you do? Yeah, you're the Son of the living God. You're the Christ. Jesus goes, huh. I didn't see that coming. Peter, you know something? Flesh and blood couldn't have revealed that to you. This is a revelation from my Father. Upon this rock, I will build my church. The revelation of this Christ, this rock who will bring a covenant we have never known, and in many ways we have never tasted of, that he intends, the book of Hebrews especially, not to be some letter we write, a living example of this testament. All of it. But then he goes on. See, I'm intrigued by this. See, when he's talking, I'm like this. What? He says, I'm going to build my church on it, and the gates of hell should not prevail. Now, I don't really care about hell much. I don't. They have, they got their thing going. I'm not afraid of it, not scared of it. If we'll stand against it, cast it out, run it over, whatever. But I'll tell you what, the gates of hell, I know they don't move, but I'll tell you something, the gates of hell have taken some of my friends, some of my family. I think I'm going to go back and get them. But here's what intrigues me the most. He said, looks at Peter, he says, I'm going to give you the keys to the kingdom of heaven. Whoa, wait a minute. You mean these apostles have cast out devils, healed the sick, and walked in power like no one else but you. And now there's yet another power that you're going to give them that they don't have? What's this? And I know they try to figure out the issue is not the keys. The issue is he wants to release a power from the kingdom of heaven that we have never, ever known before. Oh, yeah, I want the signs and the wonders, but he wants to unveil heaven, unveil his Father, unveil that dimension in ways we have never seen before. Not to make me super spiritual. It doesn't do that. You know why? Because I watch the man. He's not super spiritual. The dude is absolutely human, and he's absolutely divine. This man was to be the beginning of everything that would come after him. He was the start. He's the pattern. He's the unveiling of the heavens. Yeah, He wants to establish the rock back with us. And the final one, of course, is the great light. When Matthew quotes it, it says, Isaiah will say they walked in darkness. Matthew will say they are sitting in darkness. How is it possible the people of God could get comfortable in darkness? Oh, but it is, though, because they're sitting in darkness. And they have seen a great light. Quoted out of here, Matthew quotes it. Here's that light, just for a second. I love this. Just touching on it. You know, John is baptizing, and they haven't seen him for now 18 years. I don't know if did he move? Is he gone? I don't know. He was 12 years old, and I remember the shepherd saying something, and I think Simeon said something when he was in the temple, but we haven't seen anything for 30 years. And they said he was so bad. We haven't seen anything yet. And John all of a sudden looks, he goes, and he points, behold, the Lamb of God who take away the sins of the world. And they look over. It's this less than normal, not even handsome, plain old nobody Hebrew named Jesus. They looked and they thought, they couldn't see him. He was the beauty of his splendor. I know we sing about it. I don't want the glory that Moses saw. That hid God. That kept people away. This glory came to reveal God, reveal the Father, and draw people to him. He was the express image of his person. He was the exact replica. He was the splendor of his beauty, the beauty of his splendor. He was the revelation of the glory of God. It wasn't smoke, dry ice. It didn't cloud us. It didn't hide anything. He came to unveil heaven. We are literally watching the kingdom of heaven unfold, and he now was the representation of his Father. It wasn't the hair. It was the character. It was the nature. It was the passion for people. That he wants to restore back to us. We sang about it. We have never seen the glory of God. And I don't mean that in a bad way, though. We have never understood it, never seen it before. But he's intending to reveal it. It came in him, everything through him. He was the glory of God incarnate. And he wants to return that back to us. So, why do I want to just tell you, I don't know what he's going to do, but I've got anticipation, but I know this, that he's going to do more than we ever thought. So is my baby here yet? Just check out to see if Linda's here. I just want her to join me with this part of it, if she has. Oh, I only got 3 minutes, so we'll make it fast. If she's you better let her go. Is she there? All right, here, come on up here. Come on, I know you weren't expecting this. Come on, at least just come to the front. Because I just want you to add to this if you want to. There's no time to welcome her. Just kind of wave to her, just say, ooh, look at you. Oh, my. Jeez. I'm distracted now. I don't know if I could do this. So there's going to be, as we transition, as things move on, I've said already, but I want to say it again, there's an enlarging of the mantle to cover the team, him obviously first, and then to continually grow and expand out. So you see it, the team will start covering under it, become under it. But I want you to know, my brother, that in this apostolic way, I don't need to use these terms, but the Lord, I said to Linda, as soon as I saw you, the last few times I saw you this weekend, I said to her, I said, it's amazing, though, because after I saw you on Thursday, it's amazing every time I see him, the authority is increasing, continual increase. And I understand that, and that's very particular. That has such meaning to it because he wants to establish that kind of authority and increase the authority, especially in the apostolic way, through the word and all those things. But he hasn't been able to do it because of the inability for the formation, the unwillingness of the submission. All those things are true. And I'm just saying it for them more, but you understand this, though. So when it is there, that's a sign. Sometimes he has blessed people with authority. We know this because it's the gift. The authority comes with the gift. I don't want that. I don't want authority because some gifting. I want it because it's a relational thing. It's a personal thing. It's us. And so he's increasing it, and it'll be a continual increase. You're going to see a strength in the word, even in the prophetic with you. And you'll do that, but yours will be out of this word, especially, and that's part of the reason why I came here today with this, was because especially the prophetic voice, prophetic word, that's going to be a renewed strength in you, a renewed ability to declare it, because it's going to be that solid of a thing. And there'll be things in here that you'll see and understand in such clarity that once were almost shadowed, almost looking in the mirror at something that was not crystal clear. You're just going to see him begin to open up and make it. I've certainly seen it in my own life, and I knew that it would come another day. I always, we live with an anticipation for this. We do, and we're not the only ones. But you're going to see this increase because of what I want to say to you next. So I stood here this morning when I came in. As I was coming, I realized, because I hadn't seen it before, that the Lord has been building a net over here. And you know how it's working. The net has to be made in all of its squares. But he's been building a net. And so I was just watching it. When I came up here, I was watching it. So it's already been built wide. But what he's going to do is the net is extending. Border of Massachusetts, border of New York, border of Connecticut. I don't have to name tell us. Border of Rhode Island. Not to be a limitation to the net, but I just want you to know this. So the net, of course, at first, is always cast because he wants to bring in a load of fish, which is part of the kingdom of heaven. It's going to be like a net. That's part of the kingdom of heaven. It'll be like a net. And so you're going to see him come in, and I don't have to go over the fish and everything. You know that. You can study that. You get to know that. But I want you to, but simultaneously, the net is for the purpose of networking. Now, I'm not sure how that's going to happen because I know I hear a lot of networking, and all that means is you come over and be like me, and, you do. So I don't know. I'll say this. It's not going to be what we've known it to be. And so somehow in this, I know the Lord with the authority, with the apostolic thing, the increase of the authority, the increase of the mantle, there'll be an understanding of this. First, a net that will bring in people. That's why I said on Thursday, all 4 places, I don't know how we're going to do it, but we need a team for that way. We need a team for this way. We need a team for this way. Almost like we have a whole staff of people for that group, for this group, for that group, that kind of thing, this being the central hub. I don't know how that'll be. I don't want to say anything with satellites. I don't really know if I like any of that. I know this, and you know this. In this dynamic change, everything's going to be different. We are not repeating anything. Nothing's going to be what it was. Nothing's going to be repeated. He doesn't do that. So I know that. So I'm not looking to repeat something. I'm not looking to say something from before. I'm looking to say this, though, because this is critical. This is important. The building is absolutely on time, just so you'll know it. Not because you're my friend, not because I said it before. It's absolutely because of what he's intending to do. That's why this had to be said, because he is bringing the people together, and what he's doing in our lives now is reestablishing these things in our lives so that he can have a habitation of the Spirit. That's what he's longing for. And so, my brother, as this networking comes, though, is going to be really the next dimension of the release of the ultimate purpose of God for you and Deb in relationship, in building. You were born to be a builder, you know that, but you have built without this. You have been building great with the skills he gave you, and he is intending to reskill you, give you a whole fresh sense of building. And I know this Bible is filled with that. We've got temples that have been built here. We've got measures of big. We've got rebuilding here. All of it's in there. We love that part. And so you have a sense of where a church is. You have a sense of where a person is. You can see where they are. Much like Nehemiah, you can see where they are, where it needs to go. That's beautifully how he's built you. Not only architecturally, but a builder as well, simultaneously. See the picture, understand it, and be able to lay the blocks as they need to be blocked. Really a gift that he's given you. But this isn't about the gift. This is about something he wants to do personally. And with it will come the revelation of the stone, the rock, and the fullness of those, and this incredible, especially for you, this incredible light that he intends to bring and what that light does.
So a mother and a father in the house of the Lord. The Lord's raised the two of you up to equip the saints, to equip them and supply them with all the fullness of the body of Christ, to equip them not to just be equipped in the things of the Lord, but to be a mature mentoring, to mentor them and supply them and give them what they need. It's almost like, Jesus had the 12, and then the 12 started teaching and raising up the others. So there's going to be others that are going to come that you're going to equip. They're going to be like the 12. And then those 12 will go out, and you know the numbers. As you start to multiply, it'll be a multiplication. But it's for the equipping, and it's for the supplying of the body to grow them up. If we need anything, we need the full mantle and maturity of Christ in the earth today. And so the two of you, you've gone through things. The Lord has brought you through, and you're coming through as gold and silver.
Beautiful.
So,
yeah, great. Good. Excellent.
Hey, I'm Pastor Petey.
And I'm Christina.
Thanks for watching today. Let's stay connected.
First, click the thumbs up on this video. Next, click subscribe. And lastly, click the Give Now link in the description to support the ministry so that we can continue reaching people all over the world.
And if you're in the area, we'd like to personally invite you to join us right here in Middlefield, Connecticut, and see for yourself what God is doing with our church family.
Thanks again for watching.